focused more on Garner and you think about this particular situation, because a lot of the talk we had pre-draft was the fact that this team could potentially get Michael Penix. That was a name that kept coming up with the Las Vegas Raiders. Garner Minshew played really good at moments last year, and he understands how to use big receivers. And that's something that I know sounds very general, but that's what he had success with last year with Pittman. And you think about walking into this situation, even the signing of Gallup, that's what came to my mind. Big receivers that can win 50-50 balls. And Garner Minshew has some athleticism. He has some playmaking ability beyond what they do in the play call in the huddle. But to your point, Luke Getsy has to be ready for what he has offensively, because we talked about it ad nauseum when we were at the draft. Had it not been for Brock Bowers' injury, he may have been the best offensive weapon in this draft. So he has a lot at his disposal. They did work on the defensive side. They have who I think is a top 5 defender in the NFL in Max Crosby. They signed Christian Wilkins. This team could sneak up on people if they're just thinking, well, going to the quarterback, and they don't really have that guy that they went after in the draft. This could be good for the Vegas Raiders as long as their offensive coordinator is better than he was in Chicago, to Hawk's point.
Swag, that defense allowed the fewest points in the NFL over the final 10 weeks last season, Dan.
Yeah, Dak Prescott and Justin Fields. Marcus, to your point, we think this team's got a chance to be a decent football team. Okay, 8-9, 9-8. They're not going to be drafting early. The 2 free agent quarterbacks that have a chance at least to be big-time free agents next year are Dak Prescott and Justin Fields. Garner Minshew, I love this and that, but they need a dude. Those are the 2 names. You're not going to be high enough in the draft to be able to go get somebody up early. That's what I'm saying.
Dan, I would have tried to sneak a meeting with Dak people already.
100%.
I would have already, if I was the Vegas Raiders, I would have already tried to figure out where is my ends on the Dak Prescott sweepstakes that's about to come up.
Get ahead.
If this deal doesn't get done in Dallas.
Correct.
Man, that.
Okay. This is pretty interesting because I want to talk about Garner Minshew as well as Dak, now that they just like slid that in at the very end. This is the way I look at it, though. Why are you going... Dak Prescott wants like $60 million. That's what he wants. If they couldn't win with the Dallas Cowboys, all those weapons, that team, why do you think they'll be able to win? Why do you think he'll be able to win with the Raiders? Dallas had an elite defense. Like, you already know what you're going to get with Dak. And so why are you going to tie up all that money if you're the Raiders? That just doesn't make sense to me. We know that that is not good enough to get you over the hump. Now, if Dak said, you know what, I'm going to take, $45 million or something, then I get it, right? Then you can potentially build a great team around it, and you can build up Dak, and then, then I think you can legitimately win and make some moves. But if you have to pay Dak all that money, you already know what that's going to get you. Now, if you had like an elite offensive head coach like a Shanahan or a McVay, then I would say, okay, he's going to work his magic. That's not the case that you're in at all. And I think Garner Minshew is actually a really good quarterback. Listen, I'm not telling you that he's, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow out there, but I think he is a really, really solid quarterback. Shane Steichen wanted him, and I 1000% trust Shane's perspective on, offense and quarterbacks. So I think the only problem is the OC for the Raiders. I think that is potentially more of an issue than not, but I don't think Garner Minshew is the issue. Listen, you're going to have a ceiling with Minshew, but you can also go on a run with Minshew. They nearly made it into the playoffs for the Colts with Minshew, and they should have. And I don't even necessarily blame Minshew for that. So I think that the Raiders absolutely can have success. I think in this division especially, I think it's very possible that the Chiefs, because everyone's like, right, everyone's trying to chase the Chiefs, obviously, especially in that division. I think the Chiefs can lose to the Raiders. I think the Chiefs can lose to the Broncos, and I think the Chiefs can lose to the Chargers. I think this division is slowly on its way up to finally being a really tight, competitive, bloodbath division. I really, really do. back in the old days of the NFC East, when it was like Giants, Commanders, although the other name, Eagles and Cowboys. So I really think that this division is going to just continue to get tougher, which is awesome. Like I'm excited for that. And I think the Raiders, especially with their defense, if they have a competent offense. I mean, we've shown that. Listen, everyone knows at this point that I am super high on making, that you need to have a great offense. Offense. And that, it's better to have an offensive head coach. The exception to that is if you can truly lock down a defense, right? Then your offense just needs to be somewhat competitive, and you just need to, or competent, and then you just need to minimize your mistakes offensively. And if you can minimize your mistakes offensively and have an elite defense, you can go far. I mean, look at what the Jets did with zero offense last season. And if Zach Wilson was just semi-competent, or just that offense alone was semi-competent, they're making the playoffs. They're beating the Kansas City Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl, who also won the Super Bowl with their defense leading the way. But when they needed to call upon Patrick Mahomes to be Patrick Mahomes, he was able to. So if you can have a defense-forward team and win, it's definitely a lot harder. These days, it definitely is. I don't think that can be disputed at this point, just because of the nature of how the rules have changed within the NFL and just the way the game is played. But I really do think that the Raiders can have success. Again, sorry, Raiders fans, I'm not saying that you're now going to go win a Super Bowl this season, but I do think that they can be competitive, and I think they could be really disruptive to the Chargers rebuilding and the Broncos rebuilding and the Chiefs rebuilding. So I mean, I could see really all of these teams, whether it be the Broncos, Chargers, they all go one-on-one against each other. I really can see that, because they all have some major strengths, whether it's defensively, offensively, at the quarterback position, roster as a whole. So to me, this division is pretty exciting. It's up and coming at this point, and I'm excited to see some good competition. But I really think Garner Minshew is a really good quarterback, and I personally, depending on how well he plays, if you can't get another big time quarterback, whether it be in the draft or a free agency, I would rather pay Garner Minshew 2 years, $25 million a year, than pay Dak Prescott $60 million a year. I already know what that gets me. And sure, I can win some games and make some moves. Unless my roster was already elite and I just needed, I just, was just a quarterback away, not unlike Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks. But that is not what the Raiders are. Maybe they will be next year. Maybe this season. Maybe this season they'll prove that they are just a quarterback away. And so then they can just pay Dak, and then there you go, boom. That's not what it looks like to me personally. But yeah, I don't know. Because you got to ask yourself, let's say they're a 9-win team with Gardner Minshew. Are we saying that Dak Prescott is going to be worth like 3-4 wins? And then now can beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? He can't beat the Packers in the playoffs. He can't beat the 49ers in the playoffs. And now they're going to beat the Chiefs, and then they get beat by the Bills, by the Chiefs. So I don't think the Raiders should be looking necessary. I'd rather take a chance on Justin Fields, honestly, because you'll be able to get him for significantly cheaper. And there is the chance that you can kind of rebuild him from scratch. I just feel like I already know exactly what I'm getting with Dak. Again, unless the conclusion is this team is great, elite, we are just a quarterback away, then I understand. Go out and get Dak, pay whatever, and then go make a run. But if you realize, hey, this team is pretty good, we're a really good team, we do need a better quarterback, I just think you're wasting your money on Dak at that point. I really, really do. Because it's just, he's proven not to get over the hump, even when he has a great team with great weapons, great receivers, great running backs, great O-line, great defense, and it's not enough. So I don't know why it would possibly be enough with the Raiders. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think? Do you think Garner Minshew will have success with the Raiders? And do you think that they could be a sneaky, successful team? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single question. God, I'm struggling right now. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.